Okay, so we're talking about heating and ventilation and air conditioning tonight, and we are marching our way through the curriculum. Now, I am requesting that heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment for next year. I got to turn that in by tomorrow, so I'm kind of going to be frazzled by the time I'm going to be ready for spring break, put it that way. So this is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And what we want to talk about first is heating, because the air conditioning thing is kind of conceptual. So you have to understand you have to have a kind of more sophisticated understanding. And the heating is kind of a review for us. So I'm happy about that. Basically, what we're talking about is we're talking about changing the character of the air inside the passenger compartment. So there's two things we're going to do to the air in the passenger compartment. We're going to make it colder, or we're going to make it hotter. And it's two different systems. Like I said, making it colder is kind of involved. It's better to talk about the whole rest of the system first and make sure you understand the basic idea of what's going on when we're talking about changing the air. And what are we doing after all? The same thing we're doing with all technology. We're taking what we're given and we're turning it into what we want or what we need. So, back in the olden days, we used to say, these things are just creature comforts, but they're not. Having a working defroster is an absolute necessity. It's not a option, and it's not a privilege. You have to have the ability to blow hot air on that windshield, or if that windshield's cold, which it will get during, mist or fog or rain or cold temperatures, it'll fog up when moisture in the air hits it, and then you're blind. So that horrifying. So if somebody tries to sell you a car, by the way, if somebody tries to sell you a car where they have disconnected the heater core because it's leaking, you need to seriously consider whether that car is worth it, because if the heater core is disconnected, the defroster won't work. If the defroster doesn't work and you go over the mountain Cajon Pass, coming out of the turnoff for Wrightwood, and you hit fog, your window will immediately go completely opaque and you'll be going 60 miles an hour. Been there. So it's not a question of privilege. And many people, they're like, well, I don't want to change the heater core, so I'm just going to bypass it. Well, no, don't do it. Don't do it. We get very spoiled down here in Southern California because the weather's always so nice that we can get away with murder when it comes to, marginal batteries or marginal starters or stuff like that. But when we venture out of Southern California, all of a sudden we're in grave danger, because the stuff we could get away with in easy living land, no, take it up to Arrowhead or something like that. You get stuck in the snow, you could die. So that's the thing about that. Rudy here? Yeah, Rudy's here. How you doing, son?
Mr. Rowcliffe, isn't a heater core though in itself very inexpensive as opposed to the labor it takes to put it in though?
Yeah. Okay. Now, I had a 94 Ford Explorer, and the Explorers and Rangers of that generation, it was very, very easy and quick to change the heater core. It was probably 20 minutes. But most cars, you got to tear the whole freaking dash apart. In fact, I got a video I'm going to show you that will stun and amaze you. Speedy Car 99, who has a couple of really interesting videos on a whole variety of topics. And he's funny because he points to things with a greasy toothbrush. And it's kind of, I don't know, it amuses me. All right, so we're talking about the heater core, and what the heater core is going to do is it's going to work in the same way as a radiator, but we're going to use it in the opposite direction. See, the regular radiator, let's just go ahead and put it right here. Regular radiator, we're going to take hot coolant into the radiator, and then we're going to allow air to blow through the radiator, and it's going to remove the heat from the coolant, and then we're going to circulate the coolant back into the car. That's how the radiator works. So the same thing is going to happen with the heater core, which is, after all, just basically a small radiator. But we're going to use it differently, because when it comes to the heater core, we're not trying to remove air from hot heat from the coolant. what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove heat from the heater core. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a fan here next to the heater core, and we're going to blow air through the heater core. And when we do that, then we're going to distribute it throughout the car. So it's the same idea, it works the same, but this time we want the heat instead of discarding it like we do in the radiator. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just draw a 4-cylinder rear wheel drive, which I guess that's a Honda S2000, right? Looks like that. Come in here like this. Doesn't worry about the details. There you go. And we got the head right there. Goes in like that. And then the engine comes here, and it's probably got the fan on the front, maybe. I don't understand this, but yeah, fan on the front like that. Engine goes like that. Yeah, just 4-cylinder rear wheel drive. That's the exhaust manifold. Looks like a scimitar. Must be a badass car, right? So here's what we want to do. On the engine side of the thermostat, so that it warms up quickly, on the engine side of the thermostat, we're going to have a hot water hose that goes to the heater core. And still on the engine side of the thermostat, we're going to have a hose that comes this way. And Chuck, I don't know, but I feel like I should put a heater control valve in line right here. That's an old school way of doing it though. So let's call that a heater control valve. And that's going to control the flow. Every valve controls flow. That's going to control the flow of coolant through the heater core. Why do we want to do that? Well, because if there's a lot of flow through the heater core, it's going to be very hot. If there's a little flow through the heater core, it's not going to be as hot. And that's the way, old school way, we used to control the temperature coming out of our registers. So these are called heater hoses, not liter hosen, heater hoses. Heater hoses. There we go. Tomorrow is the Solemnity of St. Joseph. Okay, so arrow goes this way, arrow goes that way. Now, why is it on the engine side of the thermostat? So that it will heat up more quickly, right? Because we don't want to wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes for this heater core to get hot. In fact, we would like to get it hot right away so that we can blow the condensation off the windshield. Because as long as your windshield's cold, if you're driving through humid air, that moisture is going to stick to the windshield and you're going to have to be running your wipers all the time. So that's what we're going to do. Heater control valve on the older cars used to be cable operated. And when you moved your little thing from hot to cold, it used to operate the cable that would operate this heater control valve, and that would control the amount of flow going through the heater core. Heater core is going to be located inside your dashboard, underneath your dashboard, and the fan is too. In fact, this is the type of fan that they use to blow air past the heater core. Now, you'll notice that that's a squirrel cage fan. There's a couple of different configurations, but that's where that one came from. Heater core is probably about this big. It's made of aluminum. Now, it's made of aluminum. Number one cause of failure in heater cores, number one symptom is they start to leak. They start to leak, and then they're going to leak fluid onto the floor of the passenger side, which is a problem in Corvettes because guess where they put the freaking computer? Right, directly underneath that. So dumb. But I guess they figure if you got a Corvette, you can get your heater core fixed. Anyway, whatever. So what's the symptom? The symptom is you're going to smell antifreeze, and the floor is going to be wet on the passenger side where the passenger puts their feet. That's a leaking heater core. That's the disaster you want to avoid. How do we avoid that disaster? Well, the heater core is made of aluminum. What makes it leak? What makes it leak is the fact that you didn't change your freaking coolant. You're supposed to change your coolant every 5 years. If you don't, it turns acidic. And acid and aluminum do not mix. Aluminum is very, very soft, and the acid goes right through it, causing a leak in your heater core. And now all of a sudden you've got big problems because on most cars, it's like 6 hours labor to get the freaking heater core changed. Gabe's exactly correct. On some cars, it's like 8 hours. On like Mercedes, it's like 8 hours work, labor to get the heater core changed. And you don't want to be doing that whole job just to change the heater core just because you tried to save $40 by not changing the coolant.
It's a little thing. It's like this.
Yeah.
small.
Right? Yeah. Now, the thing about the Mercedes is it's going to take 4 hours to get the dash apart because you got to take out the dash and the console and all that stuff. And then when you put it
Box, everything.
yeah, and then when you put it back together, you better make sure you don't miss a light bulb because if you do, you're going to have to do the whole freaking job over again. It's a brutal, brutal job. You don't want to do that job. In fact, I would say you don't want to do that kind of work. That to me, now, okay, I'll tell you one thing. If you're going to do that kind of work, you make sure that you're very small because that's not a job for, someone who's 6'3". No, it's small people, small hands work, it's, because you're going to be under the dash, you're going to be all over the dash. This is not a job for a big person. In fact, to me, it's not particularly pleasant work, but it's interior work, which rewards people that are more detail oriented, that aren't really in a hurry or really mechanically inclined, but rather people that, it's like there's a difference between framers and finished carpenters, right? There's rough carpenters and finished carpenters, and they appeal to different aspects of people's personality.
That job is very meticulous.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, very meticulous. So I don't like it, but I would much rather stand around and do diagnostics all day than tear apart dashboards and stuff like that. Because thank God for YouTube. I told the students today, 10 years from now, there's going to be a clear line because there's never been the democratization of access to information. There's never been anything like this in the world. You can learn anything on YouTube. How to plant tobacco. You can learn I was showing one of my students is like, they'll teach you how to do instrument landing. They'll teach you how to do navigation, how to do air traffic control, how a submarine works. Whatever you want to know, it's there on YouTube. And what's going to happen 10 years from now is people are going to be looking at these students and saying, okay, so what did you do with all that information? Watch TikTok videos? Well, there's a lot of people that are going to be in there and they're going to be learning how to do all kinds of stuff, watching Scanner Danner videos, becoming freaking hardcores, while other people are watching, cat videos. And it's going to be clear and obvious to everyone what kind of person you are based on what you did with all this information. I mean, especially after Zoom, for a year, all these teachers have put so much of their content onto YouTube. It's like now when you look for a video, it's like you get 8 videos of everything. If you want to learn how EGR systems work, there's like 8, 10, 12 videos now. How to test EGR valves, how to play Texas Hold'em, all kinds of stuff, whatever you want to learn.
Mr. Rocliffe, I came across a video of how to cauterize a deep wound with gunpowder.
Right?
I was like, what?
That could come in useful soon.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so here's the thing. Most modern cars are not going to use a heater control valve, but the older ones did. Anyway, the general idea is that we're going to circulate hot coolant through the heater core. We're going to change our coolant every 5 years to make sure it does not become acidic and destroy the heater core. Now, propylene glycol, is it less likely to turn acidic? I believe so, but I'm still nervous. How do you know how old coolant is?
Color?
Well, there is a pH test. And there is a refractometer that you use to peer sunlight through it. But just old school way I do it is, if it's supposed to be pink, bright pink when it's brand new, and it's dull scarlet, time for replace. If it's supposed to be bright green when it's new and it's olive drab, it's old, replace it. That's how I do it. I mean, new fluid looks kind of shiny, and if it looks dull, that usually tells me it's old. Now, while we're on that topic, Chuck, on a related topic, I noticed now that, guess what? The same problem Rudy had on the Cobra, the freaking Suburban's got that same problem. The front water passage coming out of the intake manifold where it goes into the head, It's got a leak. So from what? From not changing the freaking coolant. That's how you can destroy an engine, just by being lazy, just by trying to save $50 to cost you an engine. So the factory has a fix for that, and that's get that silver stop leak stuff. Follow the directions to a T, but get that silver stop leak stuff, pour it in there, make sure you do it exactly the way the bottle says. And this is actually a factory. The General Motors requires, their technicians requires that after they replace an intake manifold, that they go in there and they put 2 of those little bottles of stop leak in there. That's a factory requirement. We used to think that that was like some really hillbilly redneck stuff, but it turns out that's a GM requirement now. Why? Because the problem of losing big chunks of aluminum and sealing problems are so bad and so universal that now the factory's just saying, yeah, go ahead, just dump, 2 of those little stop leak things in there, and it'll fill up small holes, and hopefully that'll be sufficient to fix it. I mean, what the hell are you supposed to do? Mill the intake manifold? I mean, it's really the only practical solution, because what's happening is people are leaving their coolant in too long. They're not changing it because, grandpa didn't change it on his tractor. And as a result, it's destroying these aluminum parts because, grandpa's tractor was made of cast iron. It didn't have this problem, or at least not as bad. So that's actually a factory fix. People won't believe that, but you know who told me that, Rudy? Robert Torrance. Yeah.
So what's a radiator flush? Is that changing out the coolant?
Yeah. Yeah. And the radiator flush is really the only legitimate way of getting rid of most of that coolant, because if you just open up the petcock on the bottom of the radiator, you'll end up draining the radiator, but for the most part, everything that's in the engine will stay there. And that's probably 1/3 of the volume of the cooling system. So as soon as you put new coolant in there and you run it and the thermostat opens, now all of a sudden you've got, coolant that's 50% old, or probably 30% old, whatever the case, you've kind of marginalized the effectiveness of your.
Hey, but couldn't you open the peacock and then run the engine with a water hose through it?
Oh, yeah, but the question is, how are you going to catch all that coolant? Because I think what you're talking about is the illegal act of dumping coolant in the street. Which,
no, I mean, you can get one of those wash basins and put it under there.
Yeah, but those wash
basins, big catch.
They don't catch very much. Why don't you just take it down to freaking Jiffy Lube and have, or I think I ordered one of those coolant flushers. That's the right way to do it. Let's do it that way. Yeah.
I was about to ask you that about doing from Jiffy Lube, because Jiffy Lube, they charge you a pretty good amount of money for that, don't they?
What, $140, something like that?
Yeah.
If Jerry was here, he could tell us. Well, just the coolant is going to be like 60. So, you're only doing it once every 10 years anyway. Well, you're supposed to do it every 5, but if you did it every 10, you'd be protected. Most people never do it. That's the real problem. It's just like brake fluid. You're supposed to change it every 2 years. Well, okay, run it every 5 years, you'll be fine. But what happens is people go 20 years without changing it, then most of your brake fluid's water and it just completely eats through your whole brake system. So I'm not fastidious about changing everything on correct intervals. I probably should be, but I'm not. But what I will tell you is, if you're supposed to change it every 5 years and you go 20 years without changing it, you're going to cause yourself more problems than it's worth. So if we have to change coolant every 10 years, you're going to change it once in probably your whole ownership of the car. So if it costs you $180 and 60 of that is coolant anyway, what's that cost you? $12 a year to not have, water pump failures, intake manifold failures, head gasket failure, all this stuff, because that acid will eat your head gasket too. So it's a big deal. It's a significant issue. Okay, so let us talk then about what we're doing is we are conditioning the air in the passenger compartment. And people say, oh, well, that's some luxury. Well, not really. Because like I said, if your defroster doesn't work, you do not have a safe vehicle, period. and you can't have your defroster won't work if your heater doesn't work, your defroster won't work.
My heater don't work in the truck, and it's not because the heater core is broken.
It's because your door.
The stupid little knob on the dash won't go to heat.
Okay. All right. PB Blaster. All right. So what do we need to do? Well, here's what we need to do. So let us do it. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you something useful. Good old Speedy Car, man. Speedy Car knows what up. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, we go back. Come on, Speedy Car. Oh, wrong button. Come on, Speedy Car. Make me happy. As you can see, there's Speed Car. That's what it is. There's 99 videos on how this goes.
The dashboard inside of these black boxes here. No. Today I'm going to show you what's inside the HVAC system in your vehicle and how it works. Now the main components are stored underneath the dashboard inside of these black boxes here. Now in order to get a closer look at how the system works, I'm going to remove the dashboard top from the vehicle. Alright, so with the dashboard loose, I can now remove.
He's an ambitious fella.
The whole dashboard cover.
Yeah, Gabe, I don't know what you're complaining about. Look how easy it is. Take him 18
Keep
seconds.
track of all those screws, everything.
Right.
This is what the dashboard looks like once everything's been removed. All right, so next I'm going to proceed to removing the blower motor and evaporator assembly. All right, next we can disconnect the AC lines and go to the evaporator, and then the lines can be pulled out of the evaporator like that.
Those are quick disconnects.
I can then I can remove the blower motor assembly. All right, so now all the bolts are free for this rebar. I can pull it out this way. So just in case you were wondering, this is what the inside of the dashboard looks like. Now I'm going to drain the engine coolant. So these two are the hoses that lead up to the heater core inside the vehicle. And then I can pull off the hoses. All right, so now that the heater core is loose, I'm going to lift it back and remove it from the vehicle. And this is what the dashboard looks like with the blower motor, evaporator, and heater core removed. All right, so I've got the entire HVAC system removed from underneath the dashboard in the car. So if you look at the airflow through the system, over here we've got the blower motor.
There's his freaking toothbrush, right?
It sucks outside air into here and it goes through the AC evaporator core to cool down the air. Then it goes over here to your mixer, which determines the temperature. Now if we take a quick look at how the AC system works in the car, we've got the compressor, which compresses refrigerant. And then it goes over to the condenser where it turns into a liquid. It gets dried by the dryer, and then it heads over to the expansion valve. From there, it goes to the evaporator core, and it expands, turning into a gas again before heading back to the compressor to start the cycle again.
Now, that was a very quick description of how air conditioning works. I'm not teaching you air conditioning right now. I'm trying to teach you heater, basically. And then there's a blower motor. As you can see, it looks exactly the same as the one I just showed you.
The air that's generated by the blower motor will get cooled off as it passes through the evaporator underneath the dashboard. So the condenser in your vehicle is located right here, just in front of the radiator. The AC compressor is located just down over here underneath the alternator, and it runs off the drive belt. So let's have a closer look at the blower motor assembly. On the bottom here, we've got this giant DC electric motor that spins this turbine on the inside here, and that creates airflow. Now up at the top here, this hole here leads to the windshield cowl where it sucks in fresh air. All right, so if I remove this little motor actuator underneath here, you can see that there's this little cam over here. So now if I move this 4-bar mechanism here, you can see how the flaps are moving to cover up the outside air over here and allow inside air to recirculate. All right, so if I open up this assembly here, you can see it's just a bunch of gears with a spiral gear, a regular DC hobby motor, and then you've got your cam actuating gear over here. Now even this mechanism is quite complicated. You see, because the cam over here needs to know its timing when to stop on this cam profile for the 4-bar mechanism. So in order to do that, there's this little built-in switch with these contacts here that contact this gear. Now you'll notice that there's actually a gap here on this side and on this side that correspond to these two contacts. So when the gear reaches those gaps, it'll open the circuit and stop the motor. And then in reverse, the same thing will happen to the other two contacts on this side and stop the motor. And here's what the blower motor looks like when you remove it. All right, so now we're gonna have a quick look at the evaporator box. Over here is your inlet for your air. And of course,
You don't waste no time, does he? Hey, Joel, what are you fussing with?
Air comes out from this side over here. Now on the back here, we've got a thermometer.
Now, this thing right here is the temperature sensing bulb. That's how they control the flow of coolant into the evaporator. Why does that matter? Because if the coolant flows too slowly, it's not going to get very cold. If it flows too fast, it's going to turn into a giant hunk of ice. So we need this to control the flow going into the evaporator, which is basically the heater core for the air conditioning system.
That measures the temperature of the air coming off of the evaporator to regulate your AC compressor. And over here on the intake side, we've got the blower motor resistor. And then, of course, because the air...
Speaking of which, I need to change the blower motor resistor in my Suburban, and not with my big hands, not with my big clumsy oaf hands. Incidentally,
What year is it?
99. But it's K2500, so it's kind of hard to get to. But Rudy, I need to change the freaking pigtail on that stupid Suburban, because driving it around without turn signal and brake lights is asking for it.
Air conditioning takes out humidity from the air. That humidity has to exit
You see
somewhere.
what's going on this weekend, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, if you're around, it's not worth making a special trip over. But also, do you have your soldering stuff? Because I don't know where mine is. They moved all my stuff.
No, I can use butt connectors for now. We can solder it once we get it in class.
There you go, Rudy.
I got soldering tools.
I'll go and heat shrink. Yeah. Rudy's out there using wire nuts. What the hell?
The power motor resistor here. They put it in the intake side of the evaporator, so it keeps itself.
Come on now, I will not use wire nuts.
Now the purpose of this blower motor resistor is so that you're able to vary the fan speed from low to high on 4 different settings. It's pretty much made of 3 resistors in series that you can select individually to give you 4 different speeds.
Okay, check this out, because it's a pretty interesting circuit. If you put your selector on high, it goes straight from 12 volts. So you get 12 volts going to the motor. That's going to give you full speed. If you put it on 3, it's got to go through this resistor first, which is probably going to give you 9 volts at the motor. If you go 2, it's going to have to go through both these resistors, which is probably going to give you 6 volts at the motor. And if you go to 1, it's going to have to go through all 3 resistors, which is going to give you 3 volts at the motor. Can you see how that's going to make the motor run slower? And that's how we do fan speed control.
Your microphone's a little quiet. Can you turn it up just a smidget?
No, you know what it is? It's a freaking Spectrum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Spectrum dropped me in the middle of a Zoom session on Tuesday. Spectrum freaking.
Yeah, you suck.
I have my doubts about Spectrum's quality. And the worst part is, I want to change carriers, but we're probably only going to be doing Zoom for another 2 weeks. So sorry about that. Is everyone
That's
else
okay.
having the same problem?
It just sounds really quiet.
Is everyone else having the same problem?
I have Spectrum and I have problems.
No, I mean,
Your
are you having problems with the volume of my microphone?
No, I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
It does sound kind of
just
low.
doing the video, yeah. But doing regular class, no.
Now if I attempt to
Okay.
Volume is a little low when you're sharing.
All right.
separate this box here. So inside here is the expansion valve, and what that does is it allows any liquid refrigerant coming in here to expand into this evaporator core and turn into a gas. Now that is an endothermic reaction, so the result is any air that passes through here will get cooled down. Now sometimes
Actually, what the expansion valve does is it controls the, you know what? Depends on the system. Never mind.
the O-rings that hold these hoses on tend to leak, while the expansion valve itself tends to clog up. So if we take a closer look inside of the thermostatic expansion valve,
You know what you're looking at. It's a valve. It controls flow, right? Here's the outlet. Here's the inlet. We got a ball on a seat, just like the pressure relief valve on the oil pump. And what it's going to do is it's going to control the amount of flow going into the evaporator core. Again, we got to make sure it flows fast enough to where it gives us cold, but not so fast that it turns the evaporator into a big block of ice. Now, there's different systems. Some of them control the compressor. Some of them control the expansion valves.
we've got refrigerant that enters the bottom here, and it is restricted by the expansion valve.
Now, how would you know what system you have? Well, you are blessed by having YouTube. So all you'd have to do is go to YouTube, type in your car and air conditioning, and it would probably give you a full-throated explanation of how your system works. That's amazing. That's amazing. That should stun every one of us, because this level of information available to the common person for free has never been in the history of the world.
Now the movement of this rod inside of here, control.
You could learn how to skin a deer. You could learn how to build a log cabin, you know, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
The expansion valve, and is a function of the temperature and pressure of the outlet refrigerant coming out of the evaporator core. So now if I open up this little hex screw here, you can see that there is a spring, and then there's a little valve inside of here that contacts that rod on the inside there. Now liquid refrigerant enters from this side, and it tries to go through over to the other side here, but it's limited by this little expansion valve here. Now this little rod on the inside here moves back and forth. This is here to ensure efficient operation of the evaporator core so that it doesn't freeze up or boil too rapidly. All right, now I'm going to attempt to cut this thing open. So contrary to what I thought, the refrigerant actually flows only through the top part of the evaporator here, and it doesn't flow through the entire thing the way a radiator would. So if I take this thing apart here, you can see that the refrigerant will go in one side and come back out the other side. It enters through here, it goes this way, turns around, and goes back that way. And then over here, it goes this way, loops around this way, and then exits. And the vehicle's heating system is actually a subset of the cooling system of the vehicle.
There. So this is the drawing we just did, right? It's got the inline 4. It's got one line going in, another line coming out. As the blower blows air across the heater core, hot air comes out wherever we want it to go, wherever we choose it to go with the mode door. Now, here's the radiator, here's the thermostat. We really don't need those in order to understand how the heater core works, but that's useful.
Cool. Normally, coolant will flow from the engine to the radiator, get cooled off, and then get controlled by the thermostat before going back to the engine. Now we've got the separate circuit over here that runs off to the heater core underneath the dashboard, and that's like a mini radiator. A blower motor will blow cool air across it, and it'll warm up the cabin in the car. All right, so finally, let's have a look at the mixer box and heater core assembly. These come together. Over here, you got your inlet and outlet for your coolant that comes off of the engine, and that warms up the heater core on the inside here. Now over here on the side here, we've got a couple of actuators that actuate the warmness and coolness of the air, as well as the direction of the air. Now, if you look closely at the controller, you can see how it works for the hot and cold and for the mode. As I move the dials over here, you can see that it actually actuates a cable. Now, the cable for the modes are quite complicated. We've got a bunch of little mechanisms that move over here as I move from the defrost mode over here towards the foot and then towards the face.
Now, are we going to use cables these days? No, usually we're going to use motors operated by variable resistors or switches. So it's just different ways of operating it, but this is good for the general basic principles.
The temperature control is what's messed up on my truck.
Well, fix
It's
it.
just stuck on cold.
Fix it. It's too bad you don't take an auto class. You could go to the shop and fix things like that. Oh, they did tell us on Monday they're not going to have the ROP, afternoon ROPs. They're not going to have them come back to school. It's just going to be distance learning for the rest of the year, which means we won't have a bunch of minions around to help us do labor, which is too bad. But, you know, it's just so many of the students aren't coming back that that we're not going to come back to, we're not going to do shop in the afternoon ROPs just because it would require you to do distance learning and in-person instruction, and that was just seen to be too hard, especially with 6 weeks left.
And what that does is it moves.
But we'll see this summer, because that's interesting, Dave, that you brought that up. I think that's something well worth pursuing. Would you guys be interested in coming in during the summer if we can get summer class? I'll bet you they probably wouldn't charge. I'll bet you they wouldn't even charge you for it. But
Even if they did.
It will be in shop. Heck yeah.
I would do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Moves the flaps on the inside here to redirect the airflow from the foot to the face to the defroster. Now looking at the overall general airflow, here's where the air comes in, and then here's where the air comes out for the face. Here's where it comes out for the defroster, and it comes out the bottom here for your feet. Now over here is the flap that controls the airflow temperature that comes off of the air conditioning evaporator. So right now it's in cold, and you can see that the air will go directly into the mixer box.
And it won't go through the heater core. See, what they're gonna do is they're blocking off the heater core with this door. When that door is all the way this way, it's blocking off the heater core so that cold air can come through right out of the air conditioner, basically. When they flip that door open, the airflow is gonna go through the heater core, which is gonna heat it up.
If I move it over to the warm position, you can see that the air will now be redirected over the heater core to be warmed up before it goes out to the mixer. And this here is how the temperature control flap works. All right, so now I'm going to split this box open here. Here we've got the heater core. So your heater core is basically an aluminum radiator that draws heat off of your engine coolant, and it runs it through here and warms the air as it passes through. Here's a look at that flap door that controls the air temperature from hot to cold. And you can see that the air has a choice to either go in from the cold side or go around the heater core and get warmed up from the hot side this way. All right, it's time to chop this thing open. Here's the heater core cut open. It's pretty much like a mini radiator. The hot coolant will come through here, and then it will go through individual little passages. You can see here these little passages. And when it goes to the other side, it'll collect and go back out to the engine.
What's a trip about this guy is that if you asked someone to do all this work, they'd probably charge you $400. But he just does it for free because he likes to. That's awesome. Big ups to Speed Car 99. Big ups.
Now, one thing I find rather inefficient about this design is that air will come off of your intake here and go through your air conditioning before it goes over to your heater core to get heated. So if you accidentally left your air conditioning button on, your air conditioning is running to cool the air while your heater core is struggling to warm that air.
That's why you need to make sure that you don't accidentally leave the air conditioning button on, because it will cool the air before you put it through the heater, which will make the heating very inefficient.
However, there is a purpose to this design, and that is because your air conditioning tends to dehumidify your air and take out that moisture. So for example, if it's a cold, rainy day and your windows are fogging up, you can run the air conditioning to remove the moisture from the air and then run the heater in order to warm the cabin air. So the next time you sprung a leak in your evaporator core or your heater core, think of all these pieces that you need to remove in order to get to it.
Yeah, that's why you call Chuck and say, you're the man. No, actually, the reason it runs through the air conditioner first is because there was actually a huge lawsuit. I believe it was General Motors. There was a huge lawsuit because what happens is if your windshield is cold and you turn on the defroster and it blows a whole bunch of moist air, what it's going to do is it's going to fog your window completely, make it completely opaque. So what they do is they run it through the air conditioner. Since the air conditioner is cold, when moist air flows through the evaporator, the water is going to stick to the evaporator. And what's going to happen is it's going to dump down and take the moisture out of the air. When it takes the moisture out of the air, now we can spray it on the windshield without, on the windshield without having to worry about it fogging up the windshield. So there is a purpose to that. Air conditioning is going to dry out the air as it does in your home as well. That's why you have to have a drain line coming out of your air conditioning, and it's dumping water all summer long because it's taking moisture out of the air.
This is the best thing about a Toyota. Even with the entire interior stripped out, it still starts up with no problem. So just as an FYI, behind the dash here, this is the VIN stamp. It's got these two rivets here in case you want to change it.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that?
He's got to come up and finish with a cry.
That was good.
I've never seen anything like that. That's freaking amazing. That would be a felony, folks. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Golly, yeah, I couldn't believe this freaking guy. But so as you can see, there's a million different videos available that will help you through that process.
Mr. Rocliffe, are we going to talk about that tonight, about charging the AC?
I doubt we'll get that far because remember, we want to do a safety test
Safety.
tonight.
Okay.
And the way it looks, we're not even going to get that far.
Yeah, we need to get started on the safety test then, huh?
Right. It kind of looks like it. Yeah, I wanted to do the doors and stuff like that. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted right there. So
how
picture
how
this.
will the safety test go? Like if we do it, like are you gonna ask us questions or like what?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Take a picture of this because I want you to watch this video.
Mm.
Automotive HVAC heater repair. It's by ADP Training. It's like 4 minutes long, and it's going to show you how the doors and stuff work, and that's going to be very, very useful for you. I favorited it because I like it so much. Yeah. What was it? I heard there's a Chris Fix video on how to replace the batteries in your Prius. Chris Fix is getting kind of hardcore. I saw Eric the Car Guy video, but I can't remember what it was. Might have been EGR system. I can't remember. It's like, you know, by this point I've been teaching 10 hours. So anyways, what we want to do at this point is we want to start doing about the safety test. So I guess we got as many people here as we're going to get. And of course, somebody's going to show up and it's going to annoy me because now we're going to have to figure out some way to do the safety test again. So I need a blank piece of paper, and I need a blank piece of paper that you are going to keep and cherish so that you can hand it to me on Thursday. So I can't let you work without a valid safety test. So let us talk about that. And we will move on. So it goes like this. Go ahead and number your paper like 1 to okay, so it's 15 plus 83, so that's number it 1 to 100, I guess. I don't know. We could number it one at a time if you want.
Yeah.
The first 83 questions, well, first 63 questions are going to be true false anyway, so let us get after that. Oh no, they're not. They're going to be multiple choice, multiple guess. All right, so safety is really important. I've never had anyone hurt themselves worse than a Band-Aid in my class, and you know why that is? Because I'm hardcore about safety. In fact, you know, it wasn't that long ago that someone actually stored a big old wrench on top of the battery, and it freaked me out hard. You know, because it could have killed everybody. It could have. You know, everything in this class could potentially kill you. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. So safety, we can laugh and joke, but safety is not funny or something to joke about. Number 1, types of personal protective devices which I may be required to use include A, safety glasses or goggles, B, face shields, C, gloves, D, all of the above.
All the above.
Okay, why don't you share the camera pointed down at it?
Well, I could, but that would require forethought. Chris Fix.
Wait,
Yeah.
can you go back? Wait, hold on. Wait.
The funny thing was, what?
Can you go back a bit? I'm sorry, walked away. Can you? Sorry.
Yeah, just a moment. So here's the thing. The week before we had to do a transmission job, Chris Fix came out with this video on how to do the very transmission job the students had to do. So that's like they were all experts, man. They were better at it than I was, which was cool because, you know, if I have to go step by step, things ain't going to get done quick or well. So let's see, Orwell. Let's go to this and let's go to that. And we shall go like this. It's actually cool because I'll be able to do safety instruction for the lovely students, all of them. Okay, so there you go. Types of personal number 1, types of personal protective devices which I may be required to use include A, safety glasses or goggles, B, face shields, C, gloves, D, all of the above. What's the correct answer?
D.
All the above.
D is correct. Thank you. Now, can you read this?
Yes.
Rarely for me, but anyway, D.
Wristwatches, rings, or other jewelry should not be worn while A, working with or around machinery moving parts, B, working with chemicals, C, working with electrically energized equipment, D, all of the above.
All of the
D.
above.
D.
D, all of the above. Yeah. D as in duele mi cabeza. Okay, number 3. There are many diseases which can be transmitted through blood or other bodily fluids. For this reason, you must never A, touch your own bodily fluids or blood, B, touch another person's body fluids or blood unless protected by disposable gloves or other protective devices, C, use machinery used by another person.
B.
D.
B.
B as in boy, yeah. Now, if we were serious about this COVID thing, we're going to realize how many hundreds of millions of contaminated masks there are. Did you catch this, Michelle? You know how many hundreds of millions of contaminated masks there are that are technically hazardous medical waste?
Yeah.
What are we doing to dispose of them? I don't know. I see them in the parking lot all the time.
Yep. Good question.
Right? Number 3, there
They're
are many,
supposed to be burned,
right? Yeah,
but they're going to landfills.
12 miles offshore. Yeah. There are many diseases which can be transmitted through the blood. Oh, we already did that. Number 4,
Did that one.
hazardous chemicals can legally be disposed of by A, pouring down a sink drain, B, recycling, treating, or burning at a permitted facility, C, evaporating in the sunlight, or D, burying in the dirt in the back of school.
B, boy.
B.
As in bust out the cupcakes. Yeah, B is in, yeah.
A.
Now, 5. There are 4 different types of fires. They are A, B, C, and D. That's C, and I'm going to
Yeah,
give
you
you a
give the
lecture on that.
answer.
C, as in claro. Okay, A fires is flammable materials like wood and paper and such like.
Page is too high, Mr. Oakcliffe.
Ah, I know. See, that's because I have to move this too close now.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, A is flammable materials, paper, wood, stuff like that. Basically, water would put this out, but all the fire extinguishers in the shop are going to be A, B, C, which means they'll go after all 3 types of fires. Okay, A is flammable materials. You could just use water, but that would get everything wet, but you could use water. Type B fire is
Excuse me.
flammable liquids. Now, what happens if you put water on a oil fire or a grease fire?
Splatters.
Yeah, it would just splatter. It would travel. So you can't use water on a grease or oil fire. Class C fire is an electrical fire. And what happens if you pour water on an electrical fire?
It's not good.
You get electrocuted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I just saw a video of people standing underneath a tree during an electrical storm, and the freaking lightning hit the tree, and these people just like keeled over. So don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Class D fires, while we're on the topic of Ontario explosions,
Okay.
is what, Rudy? What's a Class D fire?
Hazardous.
Flammable metals.
Oh.
That's what they make fireworks out of. Aluminum and magnesium.
Oh,
If
yeah.
it turns out if you get certain metals hot enough, they will burst into flames. And that's what makes fireworks so bright.
So that's aluminum and magnesium, you said?
Yeah, primarily, sure. So the fire extinguishers we have will not go after Class D fires. That's like a halon fire extinguisher. The fire extinguishers we have are carbon dioxide fire extinguishers, and how they put out the fire is by pushing all the oxygen away, displacing the oxygen, which puts the fire out, as we know, because we know
They
the fire.
suffocate it.
Yeah, they'll suffocate you too. So don't use them in a small confined area because they'll push all the oxygen away from you and knock you out as well. So don't do that. So
And
how
I always point a fire extinguisher at the base of the flame.
I'm about to go there, and what you have to remember using a fire extinguisher is the word pass. That means pull the pin, because it's just like a hand grenade. It's got a pin in it to keep the people from squeezing the handle. We're going to aim at the base of the flame, not at the top. We go at the bottom. We are going to squeeze the handle. And we are going to sweep the nozzle back and forth. Did you ever stop to think about how much money I've made giving this instruction? Worth it.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough. Well,
Aim.
there we go. So that's how you use a fire extinguisher, and that's the fires you use them on. I like to have lots of fire extinguishers around. I've actually seen a car catch fire, and it was not pleasant. So that's where we are on that. Because I did want to give you fire instruction, not just get you to pass the test on stuff you didn't understand. All right, number 6. If you see something in the shop that's dangerous, tell your teacher when.
Right away.
Well, it says at 11, so I guess you have to wait till 11.
Oh,
At once, B.
No,
No,
at
wait,
once. At once.
that's what I said, B. At once.
That's correct. B. B as
He
in
is in boy.
B as in vamos a la biblioteca. That is correct.
Excuse me, Mr. Roadcliffe, which was number 5 again?
Oh, God damn it. That's it.
B.
Yeah, you didn't say what the
C.
answer.
supposed to be a full moon tonight.
C as in C claro.
B.
As in Simon.
No, that would be S.
Number
Yeah.
7. If you go into another shop, report to the teacher. This probably isn't going to be an issue, but you know, look at the question. The answer should be obvious. What's the correct answer? C, before you do anything else, right? Got to respect other people's shops.
B.
C, as in, ¿cuándo vamos a comer los cupcakelitos? Yeah. Number 8. Guards are on the machines to keep you safe. Always.
C.
C, keep them where they belong. That's correct. Thank you. Number 9. Gasoline, paint, solvent, and other finishing and cleaning materials that can burn or explode should never be used near
D.
what?
D.
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 An open flame or sparks.
Yeah. Go with D.
Watch out for that.
I know.
What it should say is open flame sparks or heat, because heat will light it off. Yes, it will. If it's sufficiently volatile, heat will light it off.
That's true.
Just like, remember when we were talking about air injection, blowing air into the exhaust manifold and how that will actually create combustion? I mean, yeah, so -5 on whoever made the test. Number 10. Watch, they go into the comments. How dare you? 10. Do not carry sharp or pointed tools in your clothes,
A.
especially mine. Folks, we don't put tools in our pockets here. We're supposed to teach you professional standards. So
It's a trick question.
no, it's
No, I know. I get that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to bring out a cart every time we work on cars, and we're going to have all the tools and all the parts there. Now, we're not going to put parts or tools on the car. No, those days are over. And we're going to put the parts, the bolts and stuff like that, we're going to put them in one container so that we don't spend all night looking for a bolt that you lost because you're disorganized.
Or that it was never there to start with.
Yeah. Do not carry sharp or pointed tools in your clothes. Make sure the sharp edge or point is held.
A.
Down and away.
Down and away is correct. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That's it.
All right. Long hair, Gabe. Long hair, loose clothes, backpacks, and loose jewelry can be dangerous when you work with tools and machines. Keep them
C.
D.
out of the way by removal or tying back. Yep, that's it. Number 12. Where is the safest place for your backpack, purse, or personal belongings?
Truck.
Home.
C.
Right? So that's C. I mean, this is primarily designed for high school students, but yeah, C, locked in your locker, left at home, left in the car. Yeah. Try not to have a lot of distractions. As I say, we've got a lot of lifts now, but even though we have a lot of lifts, there's still going to be a premium on getting your car on, getting your car off in a reasonable amount of time. It's not going to be a hurry, but oh, what are we going to do? We're going to have to get rid of one of those lifts and replace it with an alignment rack. Aw, can't wait.
That's good. Okay, I'm gonna say that's good because twice recently I've bumped curbs by who knows why, but I have
Real
to check
quick,
my
why don't you
alignment.
get rid of the lift that the red vet's on now?
What?
That would give you the most room for the alignment rack.
Yeah, but it is kind of hard to access. But yeah, you're right. That
But
would
that would give you the maximum space for the alignment rack.
So what do we do with that, the lift? Put it in my driveway?
Put it outside. Put it out under the carport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's no room under the carport, but what we can do is put it next to the rack that's out there now. Incidentally, I ordered the power head for that, so we're gonna fix that at some point. Maybe
That will work.
yeah, maybe if I can find someone with any mechanical skills, we can get that thing going. All right, number 12. Number 13. If you think there's something wrong with the machine, or if you're having trouble running it, that should be a semicolon. Turn it off and tell
B.
el maestro, B as in vamos, contestar.
What number are we on? We're on 13, right?
Damn it, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Freaking Norman. What the hell? My brother's middle name is Norman, incidentally.
Really?
Yes. Norman Invasion, 1066. Algoncourt, something like that. I have so much useless knowledge in my head. Number 14. If you damage tools, machines, or equipment, tell your teacher.
D.
C, never, no. D, at once. Immediatamente. In the middle of your mind. 15, you might hurt yourself lifting something heavy. If you have to lift something heavy,
A.
Thank you. Good. 16, the
Not
right
me.
kind of shoes to wear in the shop are
B.
B, closed-toed shoes. That is correct. Good.
Do they have to be steel toe?
No.
No.
No. I'm gonna wear tennis shoes just because I'm on my feet for so long, but that's fine. But can't have sandals, flip-flops, whatever. Or high heels, Gabe. So if there's anything that you don't understand that we're going through, you be sure to let me know, right? 17, to put out fires on electrical equipment, use
A.
B.
A.
Can't even see that at all.
don't use B.
C.
A.
What's a class C? What's an electrical fire? It's a class C fire, right? So use an ABC fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Fire extinguisher.
C.
C. Yeah.
I don't know if I remember where that was.
Gabe, I've actually seen, because I was standing next to it for some reason, I've actually seen two wires in a wire nut that weren't wrapped around each other. I've actually seen them start a fire. I was standing next to it for some reason. So I've actually seen that. Yeah, that was trip. I never would have believed it, but that's why you need to twist those wires together before you put the wire nut on, because I've seen it happen. All right, 18. A stream of compressed air should never be pointed towards
C.
17, eh?
C, yourself or another person.
Right.
People always want to mess with compressed air, but it ain't funny. Those lines in the shop have been there for 60 years, which means,
Yeah, step in it.
yeah, steel lines with moist air means it's got to have rust, right? And little chips of rust will come out, and you know, you could blind someone with that. Plus, I think it's like 5 pounds, but I know it's not more than 15. Inside your digestive system will actually explode your intestines, and that would not be a pleasant way to die at all. And you would, because you know, right? We got JB Weld, but there's no, you know, probably wouldn't have time.
If you die, you won't remember. Anyway.
Die in agony. That's not a good way to go. So 19. When you move about in the shop, you should always
D.
what?
D.
Oh,
D is in dog.
Caminarte. Yep, that is correct.
Can you read the choices? Because I can't see them.
What?
Caminar.
I can't. That's better. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Long material should be carried by B.
student at each end. B.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
19.
B.
B as in boy. A cantar un corrido. Yes. When you use machines or hand tools, number 21. When you use machines or hand tools, you should give the job all of your
A,
Attention.
E,
all of it.
Above.
Oh,
E,
yeah, all the
E.
above.
E,
E.
E.
Elephant.
All of the above.
Okay, number 22. Playing around in the shop. Oh, never mind. Playing around in the shop or bothering another student is
Dangerous.
C. Always
C,
prohibited.
always
right?
prohibited.
What was that?
C.
C.
Always prohibited.
Okay.
I think Anna Maria needs a big screen. That's what I think.
No, I heard all these people saying it and I knew it was wrong, but anyway, so.
That is 21.
That's 22. 23. The good safety habits you are learning in the shop protect. Oh, maybe that's what the light is for. Maybe. Well, maybe not. The good safety habits you are learning in the shop protect who?
A.
What?
A.
A.
A. Yourself, others, tools, and equipment. There you go. Thank you. 24. Before you touch electrical switches, plugs, or outlets,
A.
A, your hands must be dry and you must be standing on a dry surface. Yep, there you go. 25, the only people allowed inside the working area around the machine, this is not a COVID question. The only people allowed inside the working area around the machine are the teacher and the
A.
student who
B.
is,
No.
I'm saying A.
C.
For help.
C.
If you,
usando la máquina, using the machine, right?
Only you.
oh,
So my question to you is, shoot, and it was a good one too. Oh, Rudy, you know our old tire changer that sucks and it leaks?
A.
Uh-huh.
Fuera! Unfortunately, we're gonna have to replace that with a $18,000 Hunter. My bad. But Chuck's all sad though because he likes the old school ways. But you know we just don't have room. I would like to have 3 different tire mounters so that people could get experience on a variety of machines because not every machine is gonna have an expensive nice one. But we're gonna have 200.
Every shop.
We're running out of space, so that's space is going to be a premium. Space is going to be a big problem.
We need a shop like Maxine Waters.
Yeah, well, actually, what we need to do is we just need to get more classroom space. We
just need to get a bigger shop.
We need to take over the whole G building, basically.
Exactly.
Did you know that in 1959, Montclair High School Automotive had 2 full-time auto instructors plus 2 more part-time auto instructors for effectively the equivalent of 3 full-time auto instructors for 1,500 students. Now we got 2,800 students and 1 auto instructor.
Who's that guy?
Me.
Yeah, I'm just an imposter.
That's because you're so good you can take all 3 of the jobs at one time.
I do the work of 3 men. Yeah. The point I was trying to make was 26. You should not no ajustele limpiarte o tocale tu trabajo de any machine
B.
B.
that is in motion. That is correct. Okay, Rudy, how do I say take your work from any machine in Spanish?
what?
Rudy, how do I say take your work from any machine?
Take your work from any machine?
Quita tu trabajo de los máquinas.
Yep.
De los. Okay. Yeah, from any. De los. Okay. From the machine. Okay. Thank you. Gable, help me.
La máquina.
27. All special setups must be checked by
C.
The teacher.
C, the teacher. That is correct. Yanking on the cord to disconnect an electrical plug is very, very bad. Okay. So don't do it. Now, what they're talking about is
Pull it from the plug.
here's the cord like that. If you pull it from this, it's going to pull the connections apart. You got to pull it from the handle. Yeah. Kind of wiggle it just a little bit. That is correct. All right, so 28, yanking on the cord to disconnect an electrical plug can loosen the connections in the plug and cause
B.
electrical short or fire. The correct way to disconnect a power line is to pull the plug, not the cord. B, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Be healthy. Well, it's 7:36. You want to go to 7:45, I guess, and then
Yeah.
8. Yeah, 29. When you approach a machine to use it, what?
A.
A, look first to see it's not running or coasting. There you go.
And what they mean by coasting is like some of the drill bits, when you shut it off, it keeps spinning for a few seconds.
Or my grinding wheels. Ask Chuck.
Oh
Or the-
yeah, that's the.
or the be-
Ooh. That's
Oh,
the
what
scariest tool for me is the
That's
grinding tool.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, you should see the one in my garage. It just rolls and rolls for days. The floor, aisles, and passageways should be kept clear of stock tools and materials. Objects on the floor. What?
B.
Off the floor.
B, may cause someone to slip or trip into a moving machine.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. 31, you must not talk to or distract the attention of a person operating a machine because
A.
A.
A, the distracted operator may or others may be injured. Yep. 32, report to the teacher any
A,
D.
oh, the D.
B. All the above.
D, all of the above. Yep. Hey, Michelle, I got some dogs that can help you with that feral cat you got.
Cats or rats?
Make a snack out of it quick,
Well, she's not good at catching mice, I'll tell you that.
right? Tell her to do her job, or
I do, but she's come close.
Earn her a keep.
But
She has, almost.
licks its fur.
I
33.
even show her videos on how to do it on YouTube.
Right?
Oh
Like
my
Tom and Jerry.
Lord, Michelle.
I really do.
A YouTube channel to show your pets how they're supposed to act.
Well, yeah, they have videos of like cats getting caught,
Okay.
or cats catching mice or killing them or whatever. And I watch them with her, so maybe she'll get it.
Take the bag of Friskies and point. Okay.
Yeah,
Number 33. Never
she watches
operate.
them. Sorry about that.
Never
Sorry.
operate shop equipment when the teacher is what?
A.
A.
Out of the shop. That's correct. Now, every once in a while, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom. That's just the way it is. So that's the rule. So just understand that. 34.
But as long as I'm there, we're okay.
That's not correct.
What is it, 22?
I have to be there. Otherwise, I can lose my credential. So you need to be clear on that. 34. And if I lose my credential,
What is it, 22?
I'll break loose. I'll come live with you. 34. Most tools are designed for a specific use or purpose. If they are used incorrectly, the result may result in
E.
E.
All of the above.
E, all of the above. That is correct. Thank you. 35.
For you, Rockliffe, come on. You can come live with me and all your cars.
Oh, no. That's it. Oh, I'm going to bring as my dogs. 35. Caution other students if you see a violation of shop.
C.
Safety rules.
C, safety rules is correct. Thank you. 36. Gasoline, paint, solvent, materials that will burn, explode, or produce fumes should be used.
B.
B, in a well-ventilated area. That is correct. Thank you. Okay. 37. Students are to operate only those machines or pieces of equipment for which they have received.
A.
All of the
A,
above,
B, and C.
actually.
D.
D.
D, all of the
D.
above. There you go. Let me know if I'm going too fast, folks. 38, here it comes. An inappropriate comment, conversation, or joke may result in
D.
D, all of the above. Yeah, I'll meet your parents. Yeah, that's true. Folks, I am committed to providing a workplace which is not hostile. So we have to be very wary of that. Sexual harassment, you can, people are very sensitive these days, and you can lose all kinds of, you can lose your career off of that. So, even if you don't work with me. So
You can't even say you're beautiful or nothing.
Wow.
Except I say, I don't know, I don't understand that because I tell Rudy he's beautiful all the time. But we keep it on the DL, so that was a
You're
joke.
just telling the truth there.
Yeah, it's like, how could I say otherwise? You know, I have no choice in the matter. Yes,
38.
acid or chemicals on the hands or face should be immediately washed away with plenty of
Water.
water is correct. Thank you. It's diluting.
Oh, I thought it was olive oil.
I don't know. is
Yeah,
that the
in
case?
the shop, yes.
Might be baking soda. Milk would work.
Milk's the best thing.
Well, you know, if you get sprayed with pepper spray, milk's the best thing. I don't know
Mhm.
why I know that, but I do. Now, it turns out it would actually blind you. 40, always sweep scraps from your work area with a brush rather than your hand. We learned this the hard way. Because
Hey,
A, sharper jagged particles may injure your hand. That's true. Yeah, it's amazing how sharp stuff is.
mm-hmm.
41, eye protection is used. ¿Por qué?
To prevent
See?
fine particles and corrosive substances.
Sí. Sí,
Yeah.
claro. Oh, you know what's good is that place Handel's by Corky's on
Yeah,
Mountain.
I know. It's really good.
Better than Claremont.
What is that place?
Ice cream.
Ice cream place. Yeah,
Oh,
they got
Handle.
everything too.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't tell you. The
I don't need that.
see her 2 weeks from now. She's like 100 pounds heavier.
I'm already there and I don't even eat ice cream. Okay.
Well, you don't want to go there because it's good.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
won't.
And
Okay.
Corky's is sitting inside, so
Yeah.
big ups. Getting too old to eat outside. And 42, extension cords should always be checked and kept in good repair because
B.
B, breaks and tears in the cord can cause serious shocks and burns. That is correct. 43, water should never be used to put out what kind of fires?
B.
Electrical and
Electrical.
oil.
B, electrical and oil. Thank you. 44, the proper procedure to fight a fire with a fire extinguisher is to
D.
D.
See?
D as in dog.
D as in dog.
See.
Yep,
Can you wait? Can I see that? A moment?
sure.
Can you go back?
See more. Go back how far, where?
Got it. No,
38.
thank you.
I lost the 38.
All right, 45. Before the machine is turned on, the teacher must check.
D. I mean, the tools.
Probably D.
A,
C.
C, all special setups. I don't have to check the tools. The tools are going to be assumed to be safe. If they find a tool that's not safe, don't try to use it. Give it to me.
Red tag it.
I'll put it in my pocket. Yeah, exactly. 46, earbuds, headphones, or other electronic devices interfere with your ability to safely hear or listen to your surroundings. That's true.
True.
Such as
A,
D, all of the above. Where's Jerry Witt? Those guys were great. Jerry and Buck. That was great. Bill. 47. The teacher must approve all horseplay. What in the holy hell? The teacher must approve all fighting in the shop. That is true.
Where is 46?
E.
46 is D,
B.
all of the above.
D.
D as in dog.
D.
You really make me face up.
Come here, kitty.
what? Wait, 40, what?
47 is B.
Oh, B?
Don't get on the computer.
What? 47?
Yeah.
47 is B, all project.
Okay.
Yeah. 48, deliberately shorting an electrical circuit may
D as in dog.
D.
is in dog is correct. Yeah, there you go. Okay, it's 7:45. You want to take 15?
Yes,
Yeah, let's do that.
I
Come on,
do.
Spotty.
What? That's not it. Come on now. Pause. Right. All right, so we are going through the safety test. And it looks like we'll have some extra time, so we'll be able to do some useful instruction. Chuck, I looked all over the place, and the only hand vacuum pump I could find is this one, and guess what? It don't work. So I think I'm just going to get the Mighty Vac. When you get the Mighty Vac, Chuck, do you have the plastic one or the metal one?
Which one for bleeding?
Mighty Vac, this thing, the hand vacuum pump.
I have one from Harbor Freight.
Oh, do you like it?
It'll do for, for what little, I use it. I'd like to have a better
Oh,
one, but
okay. All right.
Now,
Now, you do know what this is for, though, right?
Oh my God.
oh yeah, air conditioning,
No,
looks like it.
Coolant
Those-
testing?
those are all vacuum. Those are all vacuum gauges. This is for
To synchronize your carburetors for a motorcycle?
yeah. You can get these cheap. In fact, you can get these cheaper than you can get any one vacuum gauge because nobody knows what they're for. But yeah, they're for synchronizing carburetors. This is the second set I've had, and I don't know why. It's like because you'll see them at swap meets, and nobody knows what they're for. But they say Honda right on them, but nobody knows what they're for, so they'll sell them for cheaper than you could buy one, Chinese vacuum gauge. Anyway, we're back at it. What number are we at?
49.
49.
49. If a 3-wire cord is missing the grounding prong, oh boy,
C.
I have a story about that.
Should be reported to the teacher,
C.
right?
C. Trash it.
How about
Rush it?
how about D? It should be reported to the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can
That's a correct one.
Would you like to hear my story about grounding? So
Yes.
there I am at Mr. Mike's in Covina, playing my guitar and getting ready to sing first song, right? So I'm playing my guitar, which of course the strings are grounded. And I go up to the mic to sing my first note, and my lips touch the mic, and there was 120 volts between the freaking microphone and my guitar strings. Bam!
Sorry, I'm laughing. Not
Oh,
Do
good.
that app.
Yeah,
It was an electrical show.
yeah. So we had fireworks.
We're entertaining.
Good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was the trip. That
Do
was
you
the trip.
replace your cord caps, Mr. Rollcliffe?
My what?
Do you replace your cord caps if they're bad?
What's a cord cap?
The cord, do you replace?
Oh, the
yeah.
plug?
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to. I tend to not, but the thing is, we can, I can give it to someone as a raffle prize or something.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is the grounding plug. That's the round one in the middle. Yeah, that's the grounding. That's your safety. So if this is not there, don't use the cord and let me know because it's just not safe.
Very
And
important.
people don't realize that, but it's not worth dying for.
Mhm.
Plus, if you ever play a gig at Mr. Mike's, no, this was like 40 years ago. Jesus. This must have been 87, 89. So that would be 30 years ago.
Can you believe it?
No, Jesus. Anyways. Well, I'm glad I did it at the time because I sure as hell can't do it now. My point was number 50, correct?
Mhm.
The hazards presented by solvents are
D.
E.
D. It's kind of a ridiculous question. What does it say when playing stairway? Oh, when using a stairway. My bad. What's the correct answer, folks?
A.
A.
That is very correct. Walk down slowly and carefully. Now, I actually have a friend who was carrying heavy parts down a stairway and he fell. And falling down stairs, steel stairs with heavy parts, I don't even want to think about it. It makes me freaking wince to think about it. Winsome. Makes me winsome. 52. When using a ladder, you should
C.
C, have someone hold it for you, and that's good. I'm scared of ladders, which is a good place to be. Have someone hold it for you. Right, so it's like if you help me be safe this time, next time it'll be your turn, 53, combustible materials should be stored. Where?
In a cool, dry place.
E.
E, all of the above. Yeah. When they say soak in water, they're primarily talking about rags, spontaneous combustion. Yeah, spontaneous combustion where stuff just lights off. Well, it's kind of like those fireworks, right? You get the exact right combination of humidity and volatility, and stuff just goes off. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me, but you know, lots of things don't make sense to me. Maybe I should look on YouTube. 54. What factor determines whether sound may damage your hearing?
D.
And dog.
D as in dog, all of the above. Yep. D as in don't fear the reaper. Well, there it goes. 55. Spontaneous combustion occurs when you have
D, dog.
D as in dog, all of the above. Yeah. But heat source, if you have a heat source, it wouldn't be spontaneous combustion. I don't know. Let's move on. 56. Toxic materials enter your body by
Dog.
D. D.
D, all of the above. Yeah. Toxicity. That's a jam right there.
Favorite.
Really? You kind of look like the guitar player now.
I love System of the Down.
Really?
Heck yeah.
I used to teach in Burbank and Glendale. That's like the, it's probably a song about Burbank. 57. If you notice any machine or tool that is broken, damaged, out of adjustment, or makes an unusual sound, you should
D.
D.
Yeah.
turn it off
Notify the
and notify the
instructor.
instructor immediately. Yep. 58. Gloves should not be used.
B.
C.
C, when working around moving parts of machinery. Why is that? Because they can get sucked into the machine.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you should wear gloves when working with hot metal, just not the
Yeah.
nylon.
Latex, huh?
Yeah, not the latex one. Yeah, exactly. 59. What are 3 hazards for which body protection should be used?
All
D.
the
D
above.
as in dog.
Yeah, D, all of the above. Yeah. 60. Slippery floors are a hazard in the shop. They are most commonly caused by
B.
B.
B as in vamos a la biblioteca. Water, grease, and oil. Yep. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. I saw Chuck and Rudy, but I haven't seen you guys in a long time. I haven't met some of you in person ever.
Nope.
Wow. Just think of what I'm missing. 61. Never
A.
D.
No. D. D. D.
D.
D. All of the above. There you go.
Don't talk to nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. Eating seeds is a pastime activity. Life through the eyes of a tire hub. Yeah, there you go.
Their music makes a lot of sense.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of. 62. Eye protection must be worn when operating any air or electrical tool. True or false?
True.
True.
True. 63. When you finish using a tool, it should be returned to its proper location so that it is out of the way and easily found.
True.
True. 64. Whenever possible, the motion involved in striking objects or cutting materials should be done
Away.
Away.
from yourself and other students. That is correct. Thank you. 65. Horseplay, running and throwing of objects is dangerous practice in the shop and is
Absolutely.
absolutely forbidden. There you go. I was going to say strictly, but absolutely is better. Absolutamente. 66. Guards or safety devices must not be removed from any
Machine.
Machinery.
machinery. Sure, good. Okay. 67. Machinery must never be oiled, cleaned, or adjusted while in
Running.
Use.
Use.
Oh.
motion.
Oh yeah, motion.
On.
That's better.
Shut up. 68. A machine must only be started or stopped by the
Operator.
Emergency button.
operator. In fact, Jim Croce wrote a whole song about that.
Operator.
I used to know how to play that back in the day. Well, I used
My
to be able to
favorite.
play that. She wizards. That's all I wanted when I was learning to play guitars. I wanted to know how to play those two Jim Croce songs, whatever they are.
And
Time
I
in the
wanted to
bottle.
learn how to play Blackbird for the Beatles, but I
Yeah.
heard that's very difficult.
Yeah, I used to be okay at it, but doggone it.
Play the guitar.
Shouldn't you be happier? Shouldn't you be happier that you had something and lost it than that you never had
I
it?
never had it at all. Yes.
Okay, so my point was, boy, that's a hard thought to have when you just get your heart broke.
No kidding.
69, the student should be familiar with the school's fire signals, fire procedures, shop hazards, and fire evacuation
Bam.
Procedures.
plans. Yeah, there you go.
What is it?
Routes, plans,
Oh,
And exit, whatever.
plans. 70, soak all combustible rags in water before putting them in a self-closing
container.
metal container. That is correct. Metal container.
Metal container.
Yes, it's got to be Glenn Danzig approved. While we're on that topic, I also had a student that was a guitar player in Danzig.
Really?
Mm.
His first gig was playing like the Berlin show. You can see it on YouTube. 30,000 people, his first show. Yep. Danzig. Anyway, my point was
Love metal.
oils or grease must be cleaned off the floor before someone
Lips.
Oh, slips.
snitches. Oh. It's not snitches?
Falls,
Joe,
Lip.
slips.
what?
No love for slippers. Yeah. Some of you guys have never been in the shop, huh? Well, we have a tradition at this shop that people who have never been there before get to clean it up and organize it.
Yeah,
Before they can work on any project.
that's a good.
It's in the safety test. It's in the secret safety test.
Mm-hmm.
72. Students should not lift materials heavier than their ability to handle them
By themselves?
safely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safely.
2 words.
That's not,
Yeah, it's 2 words.
What?
Students should not lift
That's going to be nuestro secretito right there. Safely.
Yeah.
Safely
Yeah. You could say with safety if it makes you feel better.
with safety. Okay.
Con seguridad. 73. Long pieces of material should be carried by students at each.
And
and
That is correct. Thank you. 74. This one's important. All accidents must be reported immediately to the
The
Cops.
teacher.
Teacher.
oh,
Instructor.
whatever, snitch. Now we know. Now we know about you. No, instructor is the correct answer.
instructor, teacher. Okay.
Mhm.
Whatever.
What?
All right, Snitchy McSnitch. Now I know what's really going on. 75. Kidding. 75. Do not leave the machine until it has come to a
Complete.
complete stop. That is correct.
Wait, stop.
Stop.
76. All jewelry should be removed and loose clothing tucked in before starting the
Class.
Class.
Equipment.
machine. Yeah. As a precaution
machinery.
against becoming entangled. Yeah. Machinery, whatever. Yeah, that's good. 77.
Just don't bring it
You
to
are not permitted. What?
nothing.
77. You're what? You're not permitted within the safety zone around a machine unless you are the
Instructor.
Operator.
operator. That is correct. Thank you.
What is 76?
76 is
Machine.
Equipment
machina.
Oh,
or machine. Yes.
78. Keep your eyes on your work. A lapse of attention may cause an
Injury.
Accident.
accident,
Accident,
injury.
yeah.
Injury.
Accident, injury,
Accident.
whatever. Yep. 79. Be sure the machine is in running condition before it is
Turn.
turned
Turn
on. Turn.
Yeah.
How about TURNT? Turn before it's
Turned.
turned on.
Wait, sorry, what was that?
Turned. Turned. TURNED.
Oh, turn, sorry.
The
Turned up.
fact that you know that cracks me
I
up.
was on the wrong question. Okay, fine. Okay.
You'd be amazed at the lame stuff I'm an expert at.
That's what I do on Fridays. Get turt.
Get turned. Yep. Well, I'm just glad we live in a country where Dr. Seuss can be forbidden, but Cardi B can go on TV. And
Yeah, of course.
wait,
So,
kidding. Love you, Cardi B. Love your work. Told my daughter to be just like it. At 80, Any
80.
adjustments on a machine must be made with the
Down lower.
Machine.
Machine.
Road cliff lower. We can't see 80.
No.
There you go.
Okay.
Any adjustments on a machine must be made with the what disconnected?
Power.
Power is correct. Thank you. 81. All solvents contain some health hazards. Follow the what for
Safety
using?
hazard.
Guidelines. Instructions.
Recommended.
Instructions?
No, it's that's that book.
Directions.
Power with the power.
Instructions.
Yeah,
Instruction.
that too.
You could say directions, I guess. It's the MSDS, right? The
Yeah,
material-
that's it.
that's-
Material safety
wait.
data sheet.
Thought I didn't know, but I did. Yeah,
thought you
follow the
did.
instructions for using them. 82. One should never operate any power tool when under the influence of
Drugs or alcohol.
drugs or alcohol. That is correct. Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay, and 3.
Country's going to hell.
I know.
Backpacks, earbuds with gasoline drawers, wearing gasoline drawers. Backpacks, earbuds, and headphones should be removed and safely locked up before starting any
Work,
Shipping,
project.
class,
project. Yeah.
Project. Okay.
Yep.
What is the number?
Okay.
Number 80. 80. Number
Now,
80.
start over at 1. Drilling machines.
Okay,
Huh.
is this
Drilling machines.
way to the
Wait.
test or what? Okay.
All right. Is it this one? Golly. That's just the answer sheet. Huh. Huh. That's weird. Okay. I don't know.
What do they mean
I
by
know these answers.
round?
Well, no, it's just they've changed the safety test so many times. I don't know what I look like. Drilling machines. Should we do drilling machines? Well, we've got drilling machines to do, and then we got what, grinders probably. Yeah, grinder and buffer. Okay. Okay. Before you drill a piece of material, you're gonna have to do some lessons. All right, if you just use a drill on a piece of material, usually the drill is going to walk around.
Yep.
Which
It's
is
center
Center punch. D.
That's correct. Center punch looks like this. Ah. Center punch looks like this. It's got a pointy end to it, like that. What do you think about that, Chuck? Getting pretty quick in my old age.
Up a little bit, man.
That's called a center punch because it's got a sharp point, and it's used for punching a hole where you want the drill to go. And that when you do that, when you use the drill, now it's not going to walk around. It's going to just go straight down if you hold it straight, which you need to do when you're using a drill. Yeah. While we're on this topic, if the top of this head is mushroomed, it won't be, but if it was, that needs to be ground off by me, not by you. So that needs, the top of it needs to look like that pretty much, because if it has a mushroom head, that means it's been beat on too much. And what can happen is you can hit the hammer on that and it'll slide off and hit you. As for me, I like to use punch and chisel holders myself, just because I'm old and.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when you use a portable electric drill, when you use a portable electric drill, it must be
Held straight and steady.
A, held straight and steady is correct. Thank you.
What? Wait, hold on. What question are you on?
2.
Drilling machine. So this is number 2.
Sorry, okay, sorry, I missed it. Okay, got it.
Yep. Okay, 3. Shanks should be placed into the drill chuck.
D, 1 inch.
Well, do you know what a shank is? Shanks. He's like, yeah, I'm all about shanks.
Ah,
I have a bunch of them.
For teachers that give me too much crap. Okay, so here's a drill bit right there. And it's got, going like this. The shank is this part right here. Shanks for everything, right?
About
Shank.
a quarter.
You know what I do is I stick it in all the way.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know about this 1 inch stuff, but I just stick it in all the way.
Well, I said 1 inch because that's pretty much.
I
Yeah.
stick it to where it fattens up and won't go in no further.
Yeah. Just as far as you can put it. Okay. So yeah, the correct answer to 3 is D. 4, drill chucks should be tightened.
We can't see the paper. Just real quick.
Well, then let me go ahead and draw this.
Oh yeah.
That is called a chuck. You know what?
Cool.
Yeah, as if we didn't hear that name often enough. Yeah. If it's named Chuck, it's trustworthy. And
that chuck tool gets lost all the time.
wow. Wow, this is an old roster from Abram Friedman. Yeah, that's one thing about teaching. You get to touch a lot of people's lives. This goes here like this, and then right here, and then you're probably going to have something that goes like that. Little thing like this.
That's pretty good.
I've done it before, right? That's called the chuck key. Chuck key. See, because this part goes in the hole, and then these little teeth match up with these little teeth, and that's how we tighten and loosen the chuck. Yeah, there you go. That's for a drill press or a drill motor. Todd Randall. Golly. What did Hendrix say? The story of life is a blink of an eye. The story of love is a long goodbye.
Ain't that the truth?
Anyways, the point I was trying to make was that drill tuck should be tightened from 3 holes because they got 3 holes. So you should put this in 3 holes. That's the right way to do it. Don't be like Rudy and me and everybody else. Do it right. Do the 3-holer. When the drill breaks through the work, no. Number.
Are we at number 3? Number 3.
4.
That was 4. Should be C. 3 holes. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Wait. So what was 3?
3 is shank should be placed
D.
1 inch.
And then 4 is the 3 holes. Okay.
D.
Yeah.
5. If the work gets caught on the bit and starts to revolve, you get your hand the hell out of there, because it'll freaking cut your hand in half. Shut off power immediately and keep the handle held down. That's the thing you use to push the drill into the work. The reason you do that is because if you let go, this thing's going to be spinning and it could, fly off. So if this happens, first of all, this better never happen. If it happens, that means you're doing something wrong. But if it does happen, yeah, hold the handle, get your hand the hell away from there because it's nasty. In fact, talking about it makes me squeamish. Okay, number 6. So the correct answer is C.
Where's number 5?
Wait, we didn't do 5, did we?
Yes, this is good 5. It's C.
You just talked about it.
Damn, girl.
Sorry, okay, I'm lost. Okay, fine.
6.
Okay.
Where's number 5?
See? I'm the first one. Okay.
Okay,
people.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom.
1 is D. 2 is A. 3 is D. 4 is C. 5 is C. 6.
5 is what? 5 cannot be 6.
6 is also C. Never touch revolving parts. Don't do it. You won't like it. Okay. We there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because we're running out of time. 7. When the drill breaks through the work, you should.
Stop the drill press immediately.
No.
Hey,
Ease up on the feed pressure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to be using a drill press. That's why
No.
I don't want to spend too much time on this. Number 8. Fasten the blank blank in the chuck securely before drilling.
Drill
Check.
bit.
the Chuck key.
Drill bit.
Drill bit. It's got to be drill
Drill
bit.
bit.
You don't
Okay.
don't turn the drill on with the chuck key in it. No.
Okay.
9. Secure all material with a
Can't
Clamp.
see.
vise or a clamp. Yeah,
Oh,
before drilling it. Yeah.
Where's number 9?
Number 9. Secure all material with a clamp or a vise. Yeah. Yep. Number 10. Secure any loose clothing or long
Here.
hair before drilling. Yes.
Michelle.
That before.
That would be me.
11. Do not leave the drill press until the machine has been turned
Oh,
off. There you go. 12. When using a chuck key and a hand drill to remove or install a drill bit or any other cutting or grinding accessory, you should disconnect the electrical
cord.
cord, power. Yeah, power probably. I don't know. Cord. Yeah.
Power. Yeah.
13. Never leave a blank blank in the chuck of a drill press after you remove the drill bit from a chuck.
The Chuck key.
Chuck key is correct. Thank you. Good. 14. Never let another person watch what you're doing when you're operating a drill press or a drill motor unless that person is wearing
safety goggles.
Goggles.
safety glasses is correct. Thank you. 15. Because a large diameter drill bit removes a lot of material at one time, the drill press should be set to run at a
Low speed.
slow speed is correct. Thank you. And that is drill press. Next page. Start at 1 again. So let me do a lesson a little bit before we do that.
One of the most dangerous tools.
Right. Oh, grinders? No. Back in the day, damn, grinders used to be good food, but any decent place around here?
Hmm?
I guess Claro's. I'd have to see. Anyways, my point was. There we go. All right, so here is the bench grinder. Looks like this. What do you think about that, Gabe? That right there is a bench grinder.
For like hardcore modifications.
Now, if you were smart, you would put it on a stand like this, and then it would become a pedestal grinder. This is an Escher grinder because the that right there is called a bench grinder, but it's missing the safety equipment and also what you need to use it safely, because it doesn't have the guards over the wheels that you got to have, and also it doesn't have these things called tool rests. And what the tool rest is there for is it allows you to rest the tools so they don't get sucked into the wheel and spit back out at you. Now, will these wheels are made of stone that's been ground up and glued together. So if you get it hot enough, guess what? They'll come apart. We always grind on the front of the wheel, not on the side of the wheel. That's for sure. And when you start this thing up, you always stand out of the way of the wheel just in case it's out of balance and it's going to feel like exploding. So this red thing right there is called the tool rest. And it has to be adjusted so that it's close enough to the wheel to where a tool doesn't get sucked in between the wheel and the tool rest, but far enough away from the wheel to where the wheel doesn't hit it. So it's about 1/8 of an inch, really. Okay, plus we're going to have the guards over here like this. You make sure you got your safety glasses on, folks. Okay. Now we are listo por aprendiendo. All right, the tool rest. Uh-oh. The tool rest should be set.
C.
Hey,
I think it's A, but the correct answer is C. 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch from the wheel while the machine is running. Oh, wait.
Wouldn't it be depending on the job?
Yeah, but that's not the answer they're looking for.
It'd more depend on the wheel you're using.
A, as close as possible without touching the wheel, and that's, well, I'm not talking about 5/1000ths of an inch,
That's
but
true. No, you're right.
the correct answer is 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. But when they say while the machine is running, are you supposed to set it while the machine is running? That's wrong. So it's just poorly worded. 2, there should never be more than 7 people in the safety zone. Well, that's true. There should never be more than what?
B,
Person.
B. 1 person in the safety zone and at times the teacher. There you go. Thank you. 3, eye protection should be used.
Always.
Always.
C. Now, folks, I'm going to strongly suggest to you that you get good quality eye protection, because if it's not comfortable, you're not going to want to wear it. So
Shift your page.
yeah, you can go to Harbor Freight and get some groovy stuff that actually looks groovy and feels groovy, and it'll be reasonably cheap. But I don't suggest getting the cheapest safety glasses you can, because you're not going to like them. They're not going to be comfortable. The whole point of cheap safety glasses is to make you want to buy good ones. Now, if you're smart as well, what you'll do is you will get those sunglass leashes that you can get at the dollar store for $1. And you put your safety glasses on those sunglass leashes, so even when you take off the safety glasses, they'll still be hanging there. That's my strong, in fact, if I was smart, I would go to the dollar store and get a bunch of them and then just like hand them out. Maybe I will. You don't know. 4, when using the grinding wheel, use B, the front face is correct. Thank you. Number 5, the grinder can be left when it
A.
comes to a complete stop. Yep, thank you. Now I do have a refrigerator in the shop, so if you want to keep your drinks cold or something like that, you should be fine. But like I said, don't expect to eat at the shop because you're not going to have time. If you have to, you have to, but don't make meal planning part of your shop day because you're going to be amazed how fast the time goes.
Yeah.
6.
But drinks are okay.
Yeah, of course. 6, when starting the grinder,
A.
stand to one side. That's correct. Thank you. 7, when you use the grinder buffer, you must wear the right kind of.
Gloves.
B.
How about B, eye and face protection? Yeah, because the buffer is going to throw a bunch of crap. Any of you guys know anybody that does detailing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Mhm.
Any good though?
I don't know. I've never used them.
Yes.
I got a bunch of chips in the paint of the Z06 that really make me sad. Number 8, right?
Yeah.
Oh, walk alone. When you use the buffer, which you won't. When you use the buffer, you must always hold the material
A.
below the center of the wheel.
Down.
Yeah. What we're going to have to do, folks, when we get in that shop is we're going to have to start figuring out shop design because we're going to have to move stuff and we might as well figure out where to put it for its final voyage because no point in handling it a million times. Yeah, everything's moved all over.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I don't know where it is. 9, when you buff sheet metal, always hold it against a.
B.
What's a tether board? How about B, backup board? Yeah, backup board. You're not going to buff sheet metal, so.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah. Number 10, clearance that exceeds 1/8 of an inch between the tool rest and grinding wheel may result in the tool or material becoming.
Lodged. Let me see.
Stuck.
And cause the wheel to
Come
explode.
apart. Break.
Explode.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be careful with these grinding wheels. Grinding. 11, grinding on the side of the wheel may produce a pressure that can cause the wheel to explode.
Explode.
Yeah. Explosive. Yeah, I was teaching in Glendale when that song came out. Yeah.
One of the best.
Yeah, that whole album, right? But
Best.
that year there were 2 kids killed within 100 yards of my classroom door.
Dang.
Yeah, it was a trip.
It was active back then. That's why.
Well, the thing was, the weird thing was there's all these Hispanics and all these Armenians, and to someone who's not one of those, they look exactly alike, but they just freaking hated each other, just at war with each other. But I would look at them, I couldn't really tell which one was which. Except one like System of a Down, the other one like
Oldies.
Tigers. You're right. All right. 12. The student should not stand in the line of flight. Line of flight? The grinding wheel has a line of flight? Students should not stand in the line of flight of the grinding wheel when starting the machine or refacing the wheel. What they're talking about when they're talking about refacing the wheel is making it 90 degrees on the face again. Like if you grind on one side, it's going to get slanted, right? 13, for any grinding.
Wait, so what's the answer for 12?
That's it. Wheel.
Wheel? Okay.
Yeah. 13, for any grinding or buffing operation, the students must wear
eye
goggles.
protection.
Safety glasses. Yeah, eye protection. Eye protection is actually probably better. How'd you put the card on the table? You wanted to. 14, a rag should not be used to hold work. Boy, that's for sure. As the rag may be caught causing a,
Injury?
yeah, it says a, not an, but injury is what I was thinking. Oh, that's so horrible. I mean, I've done it, but golly, I hope you don't. You know, these things where like you almost have a big old tragedy that could have ended up with you losing your hand or something, but it doesn't happen. And then like for the rest of your life, you're like, oh, okay, don't do no. 15, never grind soft metals, aluminum, copper, or brass. This will cause the wheel to overheat and
Burst. Explode.
explode. Yeah.
You know, sometimes at work, every time like my boss will have like if I need a grinder or like somebody from the job will hand me a grinder with a little broken piece, I'm always like, I'm not using that. And then I'm like, you got another grinder wheel? Then they're like, no, that one still works. No way.
No
I don't
way.
care if it has a
No
little
way.
chip. I don't care if it has a little chip or nothing.
No, it's not worth it. Because it's spinning at like what, 25,000 RPM? No.
Or
No.
more.
Yes. No way and no way. That's it, folks. So I'm going to need that. Oh, also you can put your name, address, name, address, phone number. Yeah, so I can call someone to claim the body. Name, phone number, next of kin, what contact, whatever, emergency contact, and your cell phone number and a signature. And that, my friends, is safety instruction.
So we're not going to be using heavy machinery at all, right? Nobody's going to be using, we're not going to be needing tool. Oh, you don't know. Okay.
Unless you count, lifts as heavy machinery or, impacts or slide hammers or we're not, okay, well, brake lathes. I mean, depends what you call heavy machinery. Heavy enough to squish you.
It's dry now. Only takes about an hour for that stuff to dry.
All right, here we go.
But he did just get his chip injected right there at his shoulder blade.
Hey, your mic's on.
So
Okay. Let's try this. Old school mechanic stuff. Maybe Chuck will get cheered up. Old school mechanic stuff. Now, we used to have vacuum lines all over the car, but we don't anymore because everything's been replaced by electronics. But we used to have vacuum lines all over the car. What's a vacuum line? Well, it's just a piece of rubber hose, but it's under vacuum, negative pressure. Where does the vacuum come from? The vacuum comes from the downstroke of the piston during the intake stroke. So the vacuum is in the intake manifold. That's what gets air to come into the cylinders. See, the intake manifold connects all of the cylinders so that all the downstroke of all the pistons is going to contribute to the vacuum that's found in the intake manifold. So this is a vacuum gauge. What it's going to tell us is how much vacuum there is. Now, on a normally operated engine at an idle, throttle blades closed, there should be 15 to 18 inches of vacuum. And these are vacuum gauges, inches. So I'm going to go like this. And I hold it with my tongue, and that holds the vacuum. That shows me that the hose is, I just ate like 15 spiders. That shows us that the hose is good and doesn't leak, and it shows us that the gauge also works. See, I hold it with my tongue, and then it shows me that the gauge works. You should be able to pull about 15 inches of vacuum. Now, like I said, the problem I have is that I have a hand vacuum pump, but it don't work. So what do? Well, you're going to find vacuum diaphragms all over the car on these older cars. And what I've found in my vast experience is if you have a car from like the 80s or 90s, these cars that have a bunch of vacuum diaphragms on them, if you did nothing but just test the vacuum diaphragms on this car, almost always you'll find at least one that doesn't work right or doesn't work. That leads you to more sales for the customers, but also it's going to solve drivability problems, because if that vacuum diaphragm is ripped, like say for instance this one, if this vacuum diaphragm was ripped, what would happen is every time vacuum was supposed to go here, it would just create a vacuum leak. What does a vacuum leak do? It adds a whole bunch of air. So if you don't have an oxygen sensor, it's going to screw up your air-fuel ratio. Even if you do have an oxygen sensor, it might be such a large vacuum leak that your long-term fuel trim can't compensate for it. So what do? What we do is we simulate what the hand vacuum pump does. So I put this over here like this, and then I turns out that valve moves after all. So I don't really need a hand vacuum pump. Billy Myers, old school mechanic, taught me this. What we have to do in order to test something is we have to duplicate the forces that would be acting on it when it was in normal operation. So for instance, over here, I have the fuel pressure regulator on an old school port fuel injection rail. So in order to test that, there we go. In order to test that, all I have to do is stick a vacuum hose to it and then suck on the other end. There's two tests. Number one, it's got to hold pressure. That shows us that the diaphragm is good. Second thing it's got to do is it's got to actually move the little plunger. Because what we were doing is we were using vacuum diaphragms for everything that we use solenoids for now. So let's see. You know, like I showed you on testing a relay, you use meters and power probes to simulate what's going on when the relay is in operation. So two things that you test on every vacuum diaphragm. You test to make sure that the diaphragm holds pressure, and then you also test to make sure that the plunger moves. So it does hold pressure, and if you listen to it, you can hear it go click, 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 click. So it's good. Now, most people don't know how to do this test, Joel, and this is huge because people don't know how to do this test. And if you have a ripped diaphragm, there ain't no OBD in the world that's going to pick it up, but it's going to screw up the way the car operates, especially things like fuel pressure regulators. Now, should there be any fuel coming out of here? No, that's a sign that the diaphragm's ripped. Okay, so on the fuel pressure regulator. On this one, oh, it is. Yeah, you can replace it. Where else are we going to find vacuum diaphragms? Like I said, they're all over old cars. This thing right here is the vacuum advance for an old distributor. So I'm going to come in here with my hose. I'm going to suck on it like this.
Yeah.
Diaphragm's no good. I'll bet you the person that was driving this car didn't know that. Because nobody knows how to test these things. And as a result, what happens is they don't find ripped diaphragms. Now, since this is the vacuum advance mechanism, what it's supposed to do is this plunger is supposed to come in here and it's supposed to pull this way, which is going to advance the timing. Maybe it's this one. Maybe that's why.
Nice work.
Okay, there we go. Now, watch right here as I suck on this diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Okay.
That's how it advances the timing. That's how vacuum advance works. Now, check it, Joel. Nobody knows how to do this, but you will. You're going to find vacuum diaphragms all over older vehicles, and nobody knows how to test them. Now, the better way to test them, of course, would be with a hand pump, but I don't have one. Even if I don't have one, I still know what to do, yeah?
Mr. Oakcliffe, I had a 68 Camaro back in the day with hideaway headlamps. That
Yeah.
worked off of the vacuum system.
Right, exactly. Now, you know how to test that? That's
No,
the thing.
Yeah, I did it at the time.
Yeah, and you're going to find a whole lot of stuff on a whole lot of vehicles that have these vacuum diaphragms, like many HVAC systems have these, and most people don't know how to test them because they don't think of it in terms of what kind of basic component it is. As a result, the only way they can test it is by buying a new one and seeing if that works.
Yeah.
Okay, check it. This is going to be a great one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the EGR valve, right?
Yep.
A little plunger inside it, right there.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Brahma was working. Mm-hmm.
The valve is good. The valve is good, right? Because it does the two things that every diaphragm needs to do. It needs to hold pressure. That tells you that the diaphragm, the rubber diaphragm itself is good. And it needs to move the little plunger. And you can use that for EGR valves. You can use it for vacuum advance. You can use it for anything that's got a vacuum diaphragm, which on older cars is a lot of stuff. And most people have absolutely no idea how to test it. And I've never seen anybody teach how to test that. But on older cars, like I say, on older cars that got a lot of vacuum accessories, I have never seen an older car where I used to go around and I used to test every vacuum diaphragm just for general principle. And on older cars, I always found at least one that was bad. And the problem is on these older cars, if the vacuum diaphragm is bad, is the OBD system going to pick it up? No, it can't. There's no way it can. So that's a big, big troubleshooting tip right there. Now, of course, as cars get newer, you're going to see less vacuum diaphragms like that. But look, oh, God damn it, I did. Yeah, wish my hands worked better. So, how about that right there? This is a 1984 Honda. This is Chuck's favorite. See all those dark lines? Those are all vacuum hoses. 1984. See? And it's like it's got all these check valves and it's got all these diaphragms all over the place. And it's like, how do you know if that works? Because remember, this is during the days when Honda was not giving you service information and it wasn't giving you any data on your scan tool. I mean, if you took it to a Honda dealership, they could get data out of it, but we couldn't. All we could get is codes, 21, you have an EGR system problem. Okay, but what is it? I don't know. This box had 12 vacuum hoses going to it. Who knows what's in the box? This box had 11 vacuum hoses going to it. Who knows what's in the box? So if you didn't work at a Honda dealership, how the hell are you supposed to fix this? Like if you were to take the head off to, say you lost a head gasket. If you were to take the head off, you think you're going to get all of these hoses back in the right place? Because if you don't, it ain't going to run right. And you ain't going to know why. If you get this, because it's got all these one-way valves, what happens if you put one of them in backwards? You're going to have a weird drivability problem and you're going to have no way to find it. So this was the hell that we used to go through, which is why you talk to anybody that went through this era and they'll tell you OBD2 is like angels singing in heaven. Because it is. This is what we gave up for OBD2. And, this was Honda. This was the worst of them. But, the Toyotas were very, very similar. All the cars had all kinds of vacuum accessories. Like this right here is a diaphragm. Thermostatic air cleaner is what they used to call it on Fords. Do you know how to test it? You test it like every diaphragm. You're looking for two things. You're looking for it to be able to hold air. That tells you the diaphragm's good. And also it has to move the little actuator. If it does that, you're good. Move on, right? But like I told you, on an older car, I guarantee you, you get out there with a hand vacuum pump, you're going to find a bad diaphragm. And if you find that bad diaphragm, when you fix that, customer is going to be like, you know, I had this weird problem that I never told you about, but you fixed it. Yeah. Because here's the thing that students have a hard time understanding. What do we do as mechanics? We sell parts and labor. So if we find something that's wrong, let's say, for instance, I was changing the spark plugs and I found out you had a bad diaphragm. Students say, boo, that means you got to do more work. But a professional mechanic says, yay,
Money.
I found parts I can sell and labor I can sell, because that's what you do. That's what we're doing. So that's the thing. What we want to do is, you know, and we don't want to spend 45 minutes doing a free diagnosis, but I'm going to get in there with my freaking vacuum pump because I know I'm going to find something. And when I do, not to rip off the customer, but to serve the customer, because nobody else is going to find it.
Right.
And what it ends up doing is solving all kinds of weird problems. Because like I said, this vacuum advanced diaphragm, it goes bad all the time. And what happens is when it goes bad, when the vacuum goes to it, now all of a sudden it just sees a big vacuum leak. Now, in the old days of carburetors, like Dave's 68 Camaro, it had no way of compensating for a big old vacuum leak. So it would just run really lean, and it would run bad, and it would probably stall and stumble and stutter, and you wouldn't know why. So I developed that troubleshooting technique, and it's been freaking awesome, especially on older cars, because if it's 50 years old, it's going to have a bad diaphragm, guaranteed. And you'll see these diaphragms all over the place. Well, you can see it here. The throttle opener is a diaphragm. That's a diaphragm. That's a bunch of diaphragms there. I mean, they're called diaphragm valves instead of solenoid valves that we're used to on modern cars. So Thursday, can't freaking wait. But I need you to bring those safety tests. And if you could, I would like you to get there early. I can't guarantee I'll be there early, but 5:45 would be a good, well, you know what? I will do a mass email if they say we can come in on Tuesday. But at this point, it's not looking that great for that. But Thursday, definitely. I will send a mass email if 5:45 is not a good time, but I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I am going to do it. Oh, no, Thursday I'm going to have to be at school anyway, so you can come in at 5:30. That would be even better. That way we get set up.
Are we bringing our own tools?
Hell no. You bring your own cars though. Yeah, I got tools. I got tools for days.
Okay.
But if you got tools you like using, bring them. That way you can practice with them.
No.
And
No.
so you're saying Thursday, April 1st.
Yeah. We do not want to mix tools. I would rather you didn't bring tools unless there's some specialized thing, because we don't
So
want
it's
to.
not going to be a joke, right?
Right.
It's going to
No,
be.
we're there. So make sure, okay, 5:30 it is, so that we can start working at 6. Bring what you need to drink, bring the safety test for sure, because I'm gonna have to collect those. And don't assume that you can just buy parts and have enough time to do a job. If there's a job you know you have to do, then you're probably better off bringing the parts. But what we'll start with is brake inspections and undercar inspections. So we'll take the wheels and tires off, inspect those. Incidentally, I just saw a big nail in my Suburban front tire. And we'll do undercar inspection and underhood inspection. And that's usually very, very useful, because then we can make a parts list for the week after that, right? Okay, I got 6 weeks after spring break, so keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go through my car, but I'm just, something that has come up in the last month. I'm just gonna ask this. It's not like mechanical, at least running wise, but like my on the wheel, whatever. I mean the controls, my what? Oh my gosh, my phone, whatever. You know what I mean? The monitors and my
Gauges?
speed, whatever thing. They're not registering correctly. They don't work anymore. Is that like what?
Are you talking about your instrument cluster?
Yeah.
Yes, on the steering wheel.
The
And
motor.
they're all working wrong?
Well, my phone, like if I want to click the phone, or if I want to do set the speed, whatever, you know what I mean? What's that darn term?
Oh, cruise control.
Cruise control, thank you. Yes, cruise control, or clicking my phone. Those are all not working recently, just recently.
Phone
Sounds
fuse,
identical
maybe?
to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fuse.
So we'll get it in on the scan tool and see what we can find. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to be ready. I mean, that's not the big thing. Like I could deal with that. I'm just, since I know that's there, I just want to, look into it before I go.
Yeah. Very wise.
What
Very-
if you already have your parts ready? Can you,
Well, that's okay.
what if we have time?
Yeah. Drive it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we do have a Camaro in there that I would like to fix and send down the road so it'll be out of the way.
Okay.
Well, I got some catalogs too. I have one for Camaro parts.
I have my copy too.
Hey, Chuck,
So
we
I have-
going to knock out the red vet when we get back in there?
Yeah, I already been going to YouTube and looking at how to take it apart and install it again.
Yeah, there are a bunch of really good videos about that. I think it's on a Z06. Yeah, but it's a really good, bunch of really good videos that kind of walk you step by step. Yeah, thank God for YouTube, right?
I have a question, Mr. Oakcliffe,
Yes, sir.
because I know that it seems like everyone's gonna go with the intention of like, oh, I want you to look at my car. I want my car to be checked out. So how is that operation gonna work? Because like, if I want something checked out, like I don't want to be stepping on toes or anything like that. So is there gonna be like a certain order? Or like, because I'm sure there's gonna be certain jobs, like I can't go in there and be like, oh, can we just change all the instrument cluster? That's gonna take a lot of
No, you're gonna have, this is all quick service.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to do stuff that basically takes 2 hours or less.
I mean, I
Right.
suppose, like when I brought up what I brought up, I mean, they're not big, I know that that's an issue. And next week we won't meet because it's spring break, right? So the next time we meet, we will be in class, right?
Yep. Bring math.
So, I mean, I guess at this point, who knows what they want? Are the people that, they have a list of things already? Do we know that?
Well, here's the thing. Plan on doing 2 hours worth of stuff. Why do I
Okay.
say that? Because I don't want you thinking that you're faster than you are, and I don't want you to rush. So if you plan on doing 2 hours of stuff, and if it takes 2.5 hours, we're fine. But if you plan on doing 3 hours worth of stuff, and it ends up taking 4, that's going to be a freaking disaster. That's going to be a 14-hour day instead of a 13-hour day. So it's good not to be overly ambitious, but we can get a lot done. Now, Chuck has got skills, and Rudy's got skills, and I suspect Joel has skills, but here's the thing. They're not there to serve you guys. They will help you out in a jam, and they're very helpful and kind and generous and stuff, but please don't expect them to do $400 worth of work for you for free while you stand there and talk to your friend. Yeah, that's just exploitation. So they're mostly there as a resource. And if they want to get any of their own projects done, you have to understand that that's their right. So
No, and I get that. I just trying to get a feel for it. That's why I asked the question. I kind of thinking there was the fuses for me because they're both going out. So just so I can get prepared.
we'll see when we get there, right? Plan on being done at 8:30, folks. And
Can I chime in on something, Mr.
Please.
Oakcliffe?
please,
Far as bringing your car in, to me, I suggest, look at YouTube before,
Yeah.
the job is done, have your parts ready.
absolutely.
Also go to Pro Demand, get all your torque specs printed out, ready to go. So that when you put it back together, you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
That way, and the first guy on the rack is usually the first guy's getting the car done. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
all I can say about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, Chuck's brought up an important point. You're not going to have time to put the car up on the rack and watch a YouTube video. You're not going to have time for that. You're not going to have time to go to Pro Demand and get the torque specs. He's absolutely correct. The more you can take care of outside the shop, the more efficient you're going to be inside the shop. And efficiency is going to be a big deal because even though we have a bunch of lifts, we also have a bunch of students, right? And we got a bunch of pent up demand because people haven't been in the shop in a year. And one of the lifts has got the stupid Corvette on it as of the moment. So that's a big deal. plan on being done by 8:30. If it goes a little late, then it'll be 8:45. Here's the important part. I don't want you to think the job is done when the last lug nut is tightened.
It has to be tested.
Well, it has to be tested, but what else?
Clean up.
Clean up.
You got to clean up. Yeah, you got to clean up. Custodians do not clean up after, and we need to not be cleaning up after you. So the tools need to be clean and the tools need to be put away, and not have rags all over the table, because I've got like 5 different classes using that shop, and I can't have you making a mess that the children would have to clean up after you. So, that's all. Yeah. So what you're going to want to do in the shop is you're going to want to stay busy, because if you're not busy in the shop, then you're basically wasting shop time, and we don't have enough shop time to waste. So I'm going to have the principal see if we can get Tuesdays, and I'm going to see if we can get summers. Well, that's going to be a long day, but it's going to be money. So money's cool. I like money. So you guys know how to get a hold of me. And also, like I said, if we can get in there Tuesday, I'll send you an email, but let's go ahead and plan on 5:30, because I'm going to be there anyway, because I just remembered we have to be at school starting the Monday after spring break anyway. So I'm going to have to say goodbye to the Starship 6th Street. My beautiful setup. I'm going to have to abandon my beautiful setup and get a crappy setup that ain't half as good. But what the hell? You got to do what you got to do.
I'm gonna say this. I had a very long day, and I was in LA. It took me almost 2 hours to get home, and I had such a headache when I came home just before the class. And I thought about you, about your Thursday long day, and I felt bad for you.
Please. Yeah.
I did. I was like, I have such a headache, and I still have it. But anyway, so I thought, oh my gosh, poor thing.
Well, Anna Maria, remember the fact that when we were going to class, I was driving in from LA in that 2-hour traffic.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get home, and it was just a long and also emotional day. But I had such a headache, and I still do. But I did think of him with
Maybe you
your,
should
what,
smoke a
3
cigar.
classes that you have today.
Yeah. Maybe you should smoke a cigar. It'll cure your headache.
I don't smoke.
Works for me.
All right, folks. I appreciate it. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. I
Those
can't
safety
wait.
glasses and mask for sure.
Yeah.
Have a good week vacation.
Yeah. Got to say, we got to do. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great break.
Bye.
See you
Hello,
soon.
Cliff.
Chuck. See you
Bye.
later.
When you stop recording.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Stop. Yes.